My name is Philip Hatsis, I'm a head coach for Try Training Harder, and I'm here to talk to you about running tips. Today we're going to look at the foot strike and the foot strike position. So if you've been around running for any length of time, you'll have heard a lot of debate around foot strike. And at Try Training Harder we try and simplify things as much as we possibly can to make things easy to understand. So let's first of all talk about those different styles of foot strike. Foot strike is how your foot lands against the ground. So you've got from back to front, you've got your heel strike, where you're landing with your heel first, and then you're rolling through into the rest of your foot. You've got your what's called mid strike, where you're landing pretty much evenly, usually slightly on the outside, just because that's how your foot's made, but essentially your foot's landing fairly flat down the middle. That's your mid strike. And then you've got one which is more of the front foot strike, where you're landing more on your ball / your toes of your feet, and you've got a landing there like this. Now, if I was to advocate any type of foot strike, I would be doing you a disservice, because it's a very easy thing to change. If I say to you, go run on your toes, you'll be sat there and you'll be running on your toes. It's very easy to do. Immediately, you've made a very big change. As I mentioned in one of my first tips in running is a very highly force-based. What I mean by that is a lot of forces are used. When you're running along and you put your foot down at a moderate speed, you could have 2 to 3 to 4 times your body weight. When you're sprinting, that could go up to 7 or 12 times the body weight. 12 times the body weight when you're sprinting. So if you make a really obvious change, like go from heel striking to foot strike, front foot striking, or front foot striking to heel striking, you've got a huge amount of forces going through your system, which you now have to somehow control, withstand, and absorb. So when we say look at your foot strike, what I don't want you to start doing is deliberately changing how you feel you land or what you're trying to do in terms of the landing style. What I'd rather you focus on doing is the key point on foot strike, which is where it is. At the end of the day, if you're landing and you're running along like this, there's my centre line, and I land out here in front of myself, my centre of mass is here, and the centre of mass is here, you can see it pretty much underneath me, and when I'm landing there, I'm landing out in front of myself. No matter what's going to happen, I have what's called a braking force. My foot lands there, I slow myself down. If the foot lands there and it's front foot, it slows myself down. I have to absorb that. In this instance, it'll be a braking force going up through the rest of this chain. In this instance, it'll probably be more of a muscular absorption coming down and into it as well. Either way, the next step is slowing down. I'm slowing myself down there, braking. And then I move into this point, and now I'm able to drive myself further forwards. So with your foot strike, let's think about where the foot strike is relative to your centre of mass. You're never going to get it directly underneath your body. That's going to be pretty much impossible. But you want to have it so it's pretty much as close as you can bring it back into here. So usually, sort of the heel is more or less in line with your centre line just through there as well. That's a pretty good foot strike position. And from there, you've got as little amount of time where your foot, no matter how you land it, mid, heel, front, whatever, your foot is ahead of your body before you come across it, like that. So the idea behind the foot strike is, where am I landing my foot? That's really, really key. So if we think about that for a second, we go back to our posture. If you sit here now like this, go into a slump position, put your foot out in front of you, it's almost impossible, really hard, to bring it underneath yourself, and that's poor posture, either like this or otherwise. If you lean forwards like this, and you try and put your foot underneath yourself there, it's very, very hard to do. Again, it's one of the reasons why leaning doesn't help. So you need to make sure you've got good posture, able to then drive off the back of your running style like this, and you want to land your foot underneath your body weight. So let's think about that movement, and I'd like you to try and grab hold of something if you need to. If you're standing on one leg, which you should all be able to do now, you're going to imagine you've got a bicycle beside you, and you're going to put your foot on the pedal and start pedaling. When you're doing this pedaling action, I want you to take a step forwards. So you take a step forwards now. As you take that step forwards, you'll have found, some of you will, some of you won't, that you landed somewhere like this. This is a bad position. Notice what's happened is my foot is ahead of my body. So my body's here, the foot is just in front of me. Now let's go back to pedaling that bike, like this. And what I want you to do now is I want you to, as you land this foot, just push your weight further forwards with your back foot, and there, land it so your hips are now directly, or more or less directly above your foot. Have a play with that, so you see that feeling when you're doing there, behind, there, on top, and start playing with that feeling. running is essentially doing that position here where you land on top, but faster, every single foot strike. So when you're building that up, take bigger steps, and you go further, so there, I'm still able to bring that foot strike underneath my body, even though it's a bigger step. As I do that, am I able to feel that now, that difference between behind or in front? It should feel very, very different. So when you start being aware of that, bring that into your running style. Can you now feel if you're landing ahead or behind your centre of mass? Have a play around with that and see what happens. And then from that, you'll start being aware of when it's out in front to try and bring it back again. And this comes from partly the power of the back end, which we'll come on to later, but also in terms of how and where am I fixing my pelvis, how's my posture, and everything else. If I've got this top half right, I'm standing tall and proud. It's very difficult to land further in front there if I'm not trying to stay nice and tall and proud. If I keep myself running taller, I'm almost wanting to be higher up and land further underneath me. So have a think around that, see if you can build that awareness about where your foot strike is, but forget about trying to change the style of your foot strike. And that will make you a more effective and more efficient runner because you spend less time slowing yourself down and braking forces out in front of you and become a better runner.